how do you personally struggle with what to post? And people sometimes use the word struggle in the wrong way. For example, someone will say, "I'm struggling with pornography," and you're like, "Are you? I hope you are."
Yeah, I hope.
Is there any struggle, or are you just sort of giving in?
Doing
right?
it. Yeah.
So what I'm asking you is like, how do you struggle? Because in order to play the YouTube game, you need to get the clicks, you need to get the eyeballs, and yet at the same time, I like what you're saying, that you went independent and are feeling more of a freedom to be able to post what you feel will be actually benefit people.
It's a difficult balance to play. I do a lot of reaction content, so I'll pull crazy stuff from the depths of TikTok, the dark side of TikTok you don't want to be on, and react to that. And it's very effective. It gets a lot of views, but I always try to follow it up with something like, this is really sad, or this person is really broken, and we should be trying to reach them with the truth. There's such a tendency, I think, to try to own the other side, and that's how you go super viral, right? You'll get 14 million views on your video when you're on a college campus and somebody screams in your face and you drop a one-liner and everybody goes, "Oh," in the audience. But that's not effective in actually changing that person's mind. Sometimes it starts with the humanity piece and seeing, you're really broken, you're really hurting, I can see that in you, I want better for you. Let's try to maybe pivot and go in a different direction. So it is funny, and it's always fun to react to some of those videos, but I'm always very intentional to try to follow it up with a greater message of, where do we go from here? We can't leave those people where they're at. I do a lot of work in the pro-life movement as well. I joined Kristen Hawkins, who is the founder of Students for Life, on her speaking tour last spring. Went to over a dozen college campuses to talk about the biggest lies that the abortion industry is telling the people of my generation.
What are they?
There were tons. We had 10 or 11, so there were a lot. But that men can give birth, or that birth control is going to be the best thing that ever happened to you. Obviously, all of the lies specifically about abortion. And it was fascinating because we had very, very extreme protests. At one campus in particular, Antifa came and tried to attack people at our event, punched a 19-year-old girl in the face. It was really intense. And we had to be put into a safe room and locked in there while the protesters got to roam around free. It was a very backwards society. But at every single one of those events, there were women after women after women after women in my generation with the hats on and all the crazy shirts and the posters that they were coming to yell at us and scream at us. But something in them at least got them to stand in line and ask a question. And we encourage anybody, if you disagree, come to the front of the line, skip the whole line and ask us a question, because we want to have a real conversation. That's not happening on campuses anymore. And every single time we had those real conversations, I could see something happening behind the eyes of these women who say, well, what about my career? And what about my ability to sleep with as many people as possible? And what about the fact that I never want to get married? And what if I'm just not ready to have a baby? That's my body. And there was this anger. But then as you talk to somebody, and you don't get angry, you don't yell back at them. It's not a debate per se. It's a conversation. There's this softness that comes into people, and they say, oh, you're not an enemy. You're not the person I was told was going to bring back Hitler to my college campus. I don't need to be screaming at you. Maybe you actually do have a really good point. And they might not agree with what I'm saying in that moment, but I have no doubt in my mind those people will go back to their dorm rooms, or they'll go back to their apartments, and over 5-6 months really ruminate on what we talked about. And sometimes it's just about that first step to connect on the humanity, to connect on the empathy and the feelings before you hit them with all the facts. Don't care about your feelings. That gets people thinking and moving in the right direction.
Hey, thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do us a favor, leave a comment, let us know what you thought of the video, like, and subscribe.